Hello everyone, welcome to BlazeCritical, and today we'll be reacting to one of the Nuisance streamer known as Johnny Somali. Now, he caused a lot of trouble in Japan and then subsequently in Korea, and he's landed himself in a lot of trouble by causing issues to, like, for example, comfort woman, historical sort of girls who got abused by the Japanese people during World War II, and he would like those are like victims, and he literally just like was making fun of her, was like moving around it. It was very disgusting. He also like did a fake AI thing with making out with a Korean sort of streamer, and it was all fake. It was all AI and was disgusting. Like he was kissing her in the AI video, and he also like was causing trouble in Latte World. For those who don't know, that's like kind of like a Disneyland, but in Korea. He would cause a lot of trouble in public, also in the convenience store, like yeah, throwing food around, like being disrespectful, and everybody did not like him. And now he's landed in court. Even while in court, he was like at first was unfazed and still did not come to terms of how serious this is, and he just keeps digging a grave, right? Keeps digging a grave to himself, and now we bring to like today, which is I think this whole saga is finally coming to an end. I think the judge is probably going to give a verdict or something like that, because this is the latest H-Rock video says the pathetic end to the internet's most hated streamer, Johnny Somali. Okay, and let's see what happens. Let's see what the final arc is for him and what the judge decided to do with him.
All right, so we just got out of the sentencing for Johnny Somali, and he was arrested on the spot and taken out back. He was handcuffed, and now he's currently being processed right here in Seoul, South Korea. So we have a crazy video for you guys. As of right now, this might be one of the slowest yet most preventable creator train wrecks that I've ever seen in my life. This dude has received so many chances to essentially change his life path. And
yeah, this is the convenience store I was talking about.
Society, but still, he continues to double down with his behavior. This guy is essentially actively choosing to destroy his life for some attention online. Like, imagine having the arrogance to fly out to random countries and harass their citizens for profit. The dude went to court in Japan and ended up in jail.
What profit? He did not even earn that much. Like, he's a very small streamer, and also like the funny part is like, yeah, all these legal fees, like all that is gonna cost him way more. He also lives in his friend like Hank's apartment, which is like a local Korean dude, but he's just basically and they got all their money from his parent, like his Korean friend's parent. This is also the level of like fucked up, like it's so bad.
Before they finally let him
basically
go.
You can only talk trash about this dude. Some things are great. This is just black and white. He was 100% in the wrong. He's a trash human, and basically, yeah. I just hope the judge gives like the maximum sentence possible to this guy. Yeah.
Apparently,
so that like tourists don't make sure the tourist doesn't cause a bad name, and also don't try these kind of things, because there are a lot of good foreigners. Like we just saw Ludwig tip to tip, right? We just saw how it was really nice sometimes with good streamers. They go and explore a country in good faith, and it brings people together. Like tip to tip is like the 100 opposite to this, and this is just like the worst possible. That Johnny Somali is like the worst possible.
Because he was actively lying to the judge. And this person obviously is the IRL streamer by the name of Johnny Somali. And yet, after doing all of that, when he got out of the Japanese jail after being stuck there for 3 months, he didn't take it as a massive wake-up call to get his life together. No, he chose to double down by publicly bragging about how he lied to the judge.
I lied to the judge. The lawyer said lie to the judge and apologize, say that you're sorry.
It's like he actively shoot himself in the foot, like literally like sabotage his own defense. Why would he say that? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? That's so stupid.
I don't give a Chinese. All I told is I said, hey, yo, I'll never make a YouTube video again. I'll never.
Dude, and essentially he thought he was completely invincible, so he decided to go to Israel, of all places, right after he got out from Japan. And there, he repeated the exact same formula. He harassed a bunch of
Yeah, so
strangers.
this is what happened. So he was harassing people in Japan, but like because he's an American citizen, I guess Japan didn't really want to take it seriously. They should have, because this enabled him. It's like because he got away with it. Like people have this psychology. Like if I get away with it, some people have this psychology. Like okay, if I can get away with it, I can get away with it again, and that's sort of enabling behavior. It's like like when you have a toxic relationship and enable people, like that's not good, right? That's why Japan should have sentenced him, but they just let him go. I cannot believe that in Japan. But I'm glad that
on the street
now in Korea that they're setting the foot down,
And then, of course, got detained, and then he got scared by the police, and he ended up fleeing the country. Why did he flee the country? Well, he thought he was going to be stuck there like he was in Japan. But, again, he didn't take this as a wake-up call. No, he continued re-rolling. So, next up, he went to South Korea. And in South Korea, he was way worse than what he was in the other countries.
Yeah, this is a comfort woman that was talking about. There's like massive historical thing about it. Like, like it was basically in World War II, like Japanese soldier forced on a lot of women. Like this is not just in Korea, but in China, in a lot of Southeast Asian countries, and there were a lot of these women who were like prostitute to the army, and they were sort of forced into it. And it was a very sort of dark side of the history, and I guess that statue is sort of trying to remember that. It's like it's really disgusting that he was trying to like kiss it, like Johnny Somali was trying to like dance on it. Like it's just so veiled, so evil that it's just like.
Continued to harass the citizens, and he did things way out of line here. He bought a fish, he started shoving it in people's faces.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Weird crash out at 7-Eleven for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
the woman was telling him to
already.
please leave, and instead he decided to do this.
Yeah, making a mess.
Right to your father was right.
Oh.
All this for $3. I cannot believe this. Look, this is just like so.
And when the South Korean citizens got upset with him, he doubled down like he always does. But this time he went way out of line. So he found the comfort women statues, which are statues to honor the fallen female victims of World War II in South Korea here. And he decided to oil them up and
it's much darker than that. It's like these women were essentially prostitutes, and they were forced into it by Japanese soldiers during World War II. Like it was like imagined by the enemy. It's so bad. It's so sad, bro.
Rip and dance on them, all for, I guess, attention on his stream and donations. So I mean, at this point, he thought it was super funny. He thought he can get away with anything. So just imagine the panic he had when South Korea essentially locked their borders for him and took away his passport. And then they tell him, no, you're not leaving the country until your entire trial is finished, you've served your time, and you've paid your fines. What's the sentence? Well, we're about to find out. And obviously, this has been a long saga because, in the past 18 months, Johnny's been
it's been a long saga.
He essentially arrived thinking that he could exploit a polite,
so guys,
society.
like even though I've not recorded my reaction because like it's before the channel started, but like I've been following a little bit of this saga, so I know a bit.
And entertain a fringe group of people who essentially want him to destroy his life. But instead, he triggered a nationwide manhunt. He got banned from every platform that pays him, went completely broke, and then managed to catch 8 separate criminal charges. And currently, the prosecution
these are like
and then managed to.
These are the maximum penalties, not what the actual sentence is. Look at how many. Okay, yeah.
Catch 8 separate criminal charges. And currently, the prosecution is demanding 3 years of prison work labor and 5 years on the S offender registry here in South Korea. So today we're taking a look at how the internet's most hated IRL streamer dug his own grave live on camera. But to understand how he got here, we kind of have to look at the playbook, because essentially his business model relied on traveling to strict high-trust nations.
I think
places
he
like
earned pennies, right? And
Japan,
it wasn't
and
even that
eventually
much.
South Korea. And there, he just acted like a complete parasite. His job is essentially being a burden to society. He tested the limits of Japan. He spent 3 months in jail there, ended up leaving the country, went to Israel, definitely tested the waters there, fled that country, and then eventually went to South Korea. And obviously, when he landed in South Korea...
That would be so stupid. Why would you try in Israel? They have guns, and the people are like serious about security in Israel. Why would you ever... so dumb. Like he knows nothing about the history of each country they're visiting. Like this is so
necklace.
so
And the
bad.
chaos really started when we found soju. He just became a drunken mess off of this. I am not here for the soju though. See, what I got was the water. This is my shaker cup because I'm gonna make some gamer subs. Yeah, shout out gamer subs for sponsoring this video and making this trip actually possible. So if you want to go support the channel, you can go to atozy.gg/gamersubs. And you can get the best sugar-free beverage on the market. Right now, I'm currently drinking the melon flavor, and only 2 of these scoops can fill this entire cup of ice right here. Gamersubs.gg/Atozy for the best sugar-free beverage on the market. If you don't believe me, scroll to the bottom of the website and claim your free samples. But without further ado, let's continue the video. The dude treated the country like it was a GTA server for his own entertainment. And I guess he just thought it was all funny,
Oh
edgy
my god, this is so
content, but
disgusting. I don't even want to watch this, bro.
so,
Like, what?
the people of South Korea were appalled. So they then launched their own
Guess we'd say
crowdsourced bounty program for him.
to
They called
cover
him
this.
the
Yeah.
Golden Goblin.
That's good.
And they were essentially giving away 10 million won, or Korean won, which is roughly $6,000 to $7,000. Yes, I hate that's the exchange rate. But essentially, he was labeled the Golden Goblin or Golden Goose because if you punched him, you got loot. And the crazy part of all this is so many of the people who actually found him ended up reaching out to me. And I even interviewed Jung Do, who was one of the guys who punched him in the face. But the first people who found him, they didn't want to be on camera, but they did tell me the story of how they found him, which I thought was pretty crazy. Because remember a few years ago, you had the whole situation with Andrew Tate getting arrested, and people were speculating that he got arrested because of a pizza box. Well, Johnny was found because of a pizza box, because they saw the name of the pizza place and they decided to go to every single location of that franchise and ask them, hey, have you seen this man? Did he just buy a pizza from you guys? And they showed a picture of him. When they finally got confirmation that he had actually been to one of these locations, they realized, okay, we know what neighborhood he's staying in. So then one of them was watching his live stream while a bunch of the other guys were running around the neighborhoods screaming. And I guess they were just playing this 1-hour game of hotter and colder where one guy was listening to
It's like playing hide and seek in like real life.
any of the guys yelling. And when he finally heard one of them yelling, they were like, okay, we can hear it now. Let's see if it gets louder. So, I mean, there was just an insane amount of dedication there. But while Johnny was being hunted for sport, I guess, punches were the least of his problems because while all of this was happening, the Korean government was slowly building a cage around him. So in late 2024, the Korean police finally swooped in, but they didn't just give him a ticket. No, they took his passport, they slapped him with an obstruction of business charge for the 7-Eleven stunt. And at the time, Johnny was coping. He was saying, oh, it's not so serious at all. Look, I still have my passport. And then he was showing an emergency travel passport, which I don't think was the main passport he used to travel into Korea. But even if he used that passport to get into Korea, it's not like he could just leave the country, which is why him and his Discord group were trying to plot and figure out how he could sneak out of South Korea. And that's where you had that one moment where they were like, hey, you should just take the train out of Jeju, which does not make sense considering Jeju is an island. And I think another one of his plans was taking a raft and live streaming himself, taking a raft out of South Korea, which obviously wouldn't have ended well. Either he would have been picked up by Coast Guard or he would be at the mercy of the ocean. But regardless, either he would have to illegally enter North Korea or illegally enter China, which just doesn't sound like a good idea either. But honestly, this was just the start of his problems because essentially he's proven to the world that he's a parasite, but a parasite needs a host. And his host were the streaming platforms he was live streaming on. So what happens when the money printer turns off? Well, he was banned on basically every single platform that paid him. So now he's trapped in a very expensive country with high bills and no income. And the guy got so desperate in April of 2025 that he essentially stalked the streamer Ice Poseidon in real life and begged him to pull some strings to get his Kick account back.
Talk. Let's have a conversation. That's it.
There's nothing to talk. There's nothing to talk about. There's no peace to be made.
Listen, come on. I should have had that.
But I don't go around and harass the general public.
In what? Okay, listen. You might have me then, okay? I'll give you that. But I honestly don't think I'm a bad person. I want to come back to Kick.com. I want to stream on Kick again. I want to move past this.
What is your goal here? You're trying to get him banned on Kick. It's not going to happen.
I mean, look at his eyes right there. That is the exact moment his reality shattered. Like, he isn't sorry for what he...
Yeah, so Ice Poseidon is also, I think he also did something bad, but I don't know much about that law, but yeah, we don't know. Okay, let's just but apparently it's also not really good. But anyway,
pull. No,
funny.
he's sorry that he can't monetize it anymore. I mean, even his last friend in Korea.
That's right. Why is he
had to
like
start
worried about? Why is he not sorry? Like he's just like he only wants to get the platform back.
begging online for donations because of how much of a burden Johnny was to him. But of course, just when you thought that Johnny hit rock bottom, no, of course he grabbed a pickaxe and just kept digging. Because at the same time all of that happened, you have the entire courtroom circus, where essentially he just self-sabotaged his entire life. Because you would think, a guy who's facing a decade in foreign prison would, you know, put on a suit, be quiet enough to realize how serious the situation is, and beg for some mercy.
Yeah, that's
but
what
no,
I was
not this
saying
guy.
earlier.
According to every legal professional I've talked to here in Korea, he did the wrong move. Because over the last year, Johnny faced 8 separate criminal charges, and he decided to plead guilty to 6 of them, but fight the 2 main ones. And those were the 2 big ones, which were 2 counts of distributing an 18+ deepfake of a popular South Korean streamer named Bongbong and of another streamer by the name of Youngman. Under Korean law, that carries a 7-year prison sentence. And this guy live streamed himself doing it. And again, every legal professional here in Korea said, show remorse and actually apologize. And most likely you would get a slap on the wrist and the judge would just deport you. But instead, it's safe to say he chose a very different legal route.
Fish and causing anxiety.
Causing anxiety by carrying a fish. Tell the judge you can suck my. I'll bring a fish to your mother's house.
That's so rude. Why you say that to the judge?
Prosecutor, y'all can suck
Oh
my.
my god, what
anything
did
you want to
what did
say?
he think it was gonna happen? So dumb, bro.
Don't you want to
Self-sabotage for
apologize?
real.
I love North. Hey, send this clip to the president of Korea. Send this clip. I'm talking to you, the president of Korea. You can suck my. I respect Kim Jong-un more than you, Lee Jae-myung, little.
If you're facing over a decade in prison in a foreign country, why would you ever curse out the judge, the judge's family, and the president of the country you're currently stuck
Yeah,
in?
that's
Then
just
of course,
so-
he showed up
Oh my
hungover to his
God.
first trial almost an hour late, and then continued to openly lie in court. So I guess his genius legal strategy was to do all of that and claim he had bipolar disorder like it was some sort of like Monopoly get out of jail free card. And just a few days, he even had his mom write the judge a letter. And what's so crazy about all this is towards the end of the trial, he thought he was doing a great job. He thought he gained a massive win by settling one of the charges. So essentially, he thought that one of the deepfake charges were thrown out. And to be honest, all of us did. And I covered this in one of my videos in October of 2025, because him and Youngman, they went to court in a separate case to settle and decide not to press charges on each other. This was a massive favor by Hank for Johnny, because Hank, you know, he's the guy who was letting Johnny live with him for over a year pretty much. And Hank could actually help Johnny here because the deepfake itself was of Hank and Youngman being intimate with each other. And Johnny showed this clip on his stream laughing at it, and Youngman also showed the same clip on his stream reacting to it in shock. So both of them technically distributed it. And that's what that separate court hearing was about. Essentially, they made an agreement. If Youngman stopped pressing charges on Johnny, Hank would also do the same to him. So in their agreement, both of them dropped the charges. And Johnny heavily celebrated this. He went on a whole victory lap.
You go look at the comments in this video. It totally tried to frame it like I lost in the last court date when I got a charge dismissed. So where's the loss? Tell me, guys.
He even called me out for saying
Yeah, I
that
think there's a
thought it was
game
gonna
in law.
happen. And
Like I don't know too much about it, but I think at the end of the day, legal fees are a lot, and basically, yeah, sometimes like the judge would usually, I don't know how it works in Korea, but in the West, like judges usually want you to like settle amongst yourselves, which means both party they can try to agree or disagree or come up with some resolution. They always try to do that. And then they go back to court, and then they always try to encourage you to go back. It's only in the very last resort they will fight it out all the way to the end.
I mean, I even said that the charges were
Just
dropped
because of
I
like the
thought
reality of legal fees.
the charges were going to be dropped. But the problem is both the prosecutors have to agree to drop the charges. And clearly they didn't. Because Youngman was recently sentenced and he was charged for that exact deepfake incident that they agreed on dropping. And now we know the prosecutor in Johnny's case didn't drop that deepfake charge either. So what Johnny thought was a massive win turned out to just be a massive waste of time. And I've flown out to South Korea now 4 times. Yeah, this is my 4th time here now. And the whole thing is such a massive train wreck. Johnny seems to, for some reason, care more about the angles other live streamers get of him than the reality of his own actions.
Seems to be no hype behind this trial. I mean, absolutely nobody's here. Johnny wants me to be a cellmate. I know, right? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Just roll your window down when you're coming by if you want me to get a good shot.
And the dude is so arrogant that he thinks that Trump is going to save him, despite apparently the U.S. Embassy told him that they want nothing to do with him.
If Trump saved Tate, Trump gonna save me. Bro, come on. Donald gonna come save it. Bro, come on. He gonna put some tariffs on these Trump. I'm telling you, Donald J. Trump, please. I'm an American citizen. I am being held hostage.
And all of this brings us to right here, right now, April of 2026. The prosecution is officially recommending 3 years of hard prison labor and 5 years on the S-offender registry here in South Korea. And that is for the deepfake charges. If he does get the max sentences stacked on top of each other, he's currently facing 12.5 years in prison. And it's safe to say the dude hasn't given the judge a single reason
But I don't
to go
think
easy.
he's gonna get the max sentence though.
The judge makes their final ruling now on April 15th, which we're approaching very fast because it's April 14th as of recording this commentary bit right here.
All right, good morning. So we're now headed to the final trial day for Johnny Somali. It is sentencing day, and
Yes,
a lot
I
of
really
people
want to
wondering
find out what exactly
gonna
how
happen,
what is
because
sentence.
you have a pretty wide range of things. Most of the legal professionals that we've talked to here, they're thinking that he's going to get in the ballpark of what the prosecution was asking for, up by 25% or down by 25%. But we did hear from someone who I guess has been convicted several times here in South Korea, and he's thinking that most likely he'll get a slap on the wrist or some type of probation and would be allowed to leave Korea. So who knows?
And in the morning of the trial, Johnny decided to upload this poll where he was trying to get his community to vote on if they think he was actually going to prison or not. And obviously the comments of that were just people roasting him. Here we are outside of the courthouse. It'll be interesting. All right, walking into the trial.
Also, in a way, how long has Johnny Somali been in it just for the whole trial scene? Because he's trapped in Korea. He couldn't leave Korea. How long has Johnny Somali been stuck in Korea? I think it's for a year. That's late 2024. So it's been like, oh my god, it's like almost 2 years. Oh my god. So it's like 1.5 to 2 years, basically, right? That is crazy. So in a way, that's also a prison sentence, because yes, he can like walk around in Korea, but he cannot earn any money, and he probably has to borrow money, and also on top of that, he is basically stuck in Korea. And in a way, it is kind of a prison sentence, right? Even though it's not actually in prison. Now they're sentencing on like actual prison, you know, on top of that. So
They have the news posted up, so they're gonna get some angles.
American live streamer Johnny Somali, who had caused an uproar in South Korea with his outrageous acts, such as kissing the Statue of Peace, was sentenced to 6 months in prison.
All right, so we just got out of court, and he received a guilty verdict. It was guilty.
Yes, we got him, boy.
yeah, guilty, which is good. Oh, that's legal mindset.
We got him.
So that was interesting. This time, when he walked in, it was kind of like he saw a ghost. Like, he didn't give anyone eye contact, sat down, he's looked extremely stressed, and that was it, really. And then it went way faster than what I was expected, because he was the first one called up. He was called up on the stand, and the judge asked him, is there any reason for why you should not go to prison? And he said, because he had family at home, and he misses them, and that was his reasoning, and that he was a student at ASU, apparently. But at the end of the day, the judge gave him his prison sentence with labor, so he ended up getting 6 months of prison with labor.
Plus 20 days.
Plus 20 days. And did he say any fines or anything like that?
The 20 days is probably instead of the fines. So
Okay.
20 days detention is different from prison with labor. So that's for the minor crimes, minor offenses act, instead of a fine.
Is there anything else I missed?
I think you nailed it. But the 6 months bottom line.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's reduced so much is because they did not perceive the damage from the deepfakes to be
Right.
as serious as, you know.
What was expected, yeah.
They balanced it out.
Yeah.
And then he was given like a ban for like going to places with women and children for 5 years or something like that.
Correct. That's about offender status. So that's being connected with the deepfake, right? So he's got to go register as a sex offender because it's a sexual crime. So he's got to stay away from places involving women and children, just like in the U.S. where you stay away from playgrounds and daycares and stuff.
And this will affect the type of labor that he'll be doing, just like the prosecutor wanted.
So what do you think the most likely labor he'll be doing?
Factory labor.
I don't know, but the important thing that that the judge pointed out is that they have been monitoring his YouTube, including what he's been doing in the past few weeks.
Right.
And that has had an effect on their decision.
And of course, he lied and said he hadn't committed any crimes during the course of the trial, which we've documented, showed, even filed the child sexual harassment charges, which were during the pendency of the trial.
And then when they asked if there's any reason he should not be detained immediately, like he's going to serve the sentence, but the question is, do they take him away right now, or do they do it later, issue an arrest warrant? Well, so those are the issues. His reasoning, he was allowed the opportunity to speak, to advocate for himself, and his reasoning was, I miss my family. Yeah. Which does not sound very convincing as far as an argument against him being a flight risk.
The judge did not care.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, his mother was not there. A lot of people were speculating online that his mom was going to show up, but I didn't see her there.
No Hank.
She was not there.
Hank was not there either.
And
so
at the very end, he was escorted out of the room, not through the front door that he came in, but through the side door, which is where he was going to go. He did have a full backpack, which means he knew that he was expecting the possibility. A packed, full backpack.
Yeah.
And he was wearing an Israel and USA pin, which no keep by the way.
Oh boy. So after that, he was taken to the back room. Was he handcuffed there?
Yeah. He was handcuffed in the back room, searched, and had all his stuff itemized, and they're gonna bring him out right here.
But also, regardless of what happens, you also have an appeal process here in Korea. So let's say if Johnny gets a slap on the wrist, the prosecutor has 7 days to appeal. And apparently they can appeal 2 to 3 times here. So let's say they give him a slap on the wrist. He can't leave for another 7 days. If the prosecutor decides to appeal this, he has to go through trial again. And apparently that can repeat a few times. Or if they throw the book at Johnny, Johnny also has the right to appeal as well. So it's been a few hours since we got out of the trial. So we went to a study room and we've been working on the video right now. But Gabe found some interesting information about the appeal process, because if you guys did watch my live stream right after the trial, my Wi-Fi dropped about 9.5 minutes in. So the last 3 or 4 minutes of the stream was never there. So that was very unfortunate, but now I'm going to update you guys about what we said before the internet dropped. So essentially, you found out more information on how the appeal process worked.
Right.
So let's say if Johnny, he got a 6-month sentence, but if he appeals or if the prosecutor appeals and the new trial takes longer than 6 months, what happens then?
So if the prosecutor appeals, which the prosecutor can appeal if they're not satisfied with the sentencing, they will continue the trial. And if it goes beyond 6 months, he stays in prison as if he's in detention during trial.
Wow.
So say it goes on for 9 months, he stays in the prison for those extra 3 months. And then say at the end of that process, they tack on an extra 6 months, then they will subtract that from the time served, and he will do another 3 months in prison. So that's what it would look like. Now, if it goes on for a long time, which is very rare for an appeal to take that long, but there is a limit of additional time. So if, say it goes on for a year, after another 4 to 6 months, they will let him out and they will continue the appeal trial. But then if it goes another level...
So this is not good for him. That means when they, even if they appeal, like, he will stay in prison. So probably Johnny doesn't want that, right? So it's unlikely Johnny will do the appeal, but the other side the prosecutor might appeal, maybe.
What do you think the over-under is that the prosecutor appeals this?
Well, I think it's very interesting that the Korean press has been referring to this trial as the end of the first trial. They're not calling it the end of the trial.
That's interesting.
It's very common in these articles for them to call it the first trial. So there's a perception and maybe an assumption that the prosecutor will be appealing a sentence that was actually less than a third of what the prosecutor had asked
20% of what the prosecutor asked for.
Exactly. I have here in the Korea Herald, the prosecutor's office was contacted for comment on a possible appeal, but they haven't responded as of press time.
Interesting.
And then, they state here, under the Criminal Procedure Act, a defendant can be held in custody for up to 6 months during the first trial. So if it takes 6 months, then they can hold him for another 6 months. If the case moves through appeals as far as the Supreme Court, detention may be extended by additional 4 to 6 months at each level, bringing the total possible period
That's
of
total
custody
possible.
to
I
roughly
don't think so. I don't think so.
14 to 18 months. So it could even result in a lengthy trial where he gets more time than the prosecutor wanted.
And when it's appealed, it doesn't go in front of the same judge then, right?
That's right. It goes before a panel of 3 judges. So because this is sort of escalated, think of it as an escalation. They're going to need more minds, and they're going to need the 3 of those judges to come to a consensus. And usually they come to a unanimous consensus, but sometimes they have to really do a compromise. Like there might be one judge that really wants to let the guy go and quit, but the other 2 really want like the maximum punishment, so they'll find some middle ground. But usually they're able to find a consensus.
So if an appeal goes through, that would then become very expensive for Johnny because either he gets a public defender or he has to hire a new attorney, I'm assuming.
I think he would have no choice but to get a public defender. He would need a major like almost support network, and he doesn't even have a network of one at this point, of one person at this point.
Because Hank is no longer supporting him.
That's correct. You would need to have that support from outside because it takes work.
Yeah.
Same is true with the public defender, right? With the public defender, at least the public defender will do their job, but they're going to do the absolute minimum.
Right.
So it would not be looking very good. I mean, I don't think it would be a strong case anyway, but that would be the way to go. I call it a free lottery ticket because anybody can appeal, and it's not like in the United States where they can reject it.
Right.
If he decides to appeal, it goes to trial.
Interesting.
Your chances of winning are the same as a lottery ticket, so it's a free lottery ticket.
Well, thank you so much, Gabe, for all of the help throughout the entire trial process. He goes as Culture Brad on YouTube. I'll be linking it down below. He's building this massive documentary on Johnny Somali, and he's released a few clips teasing that documentary on his channel, so definitely recommend checking that out. Yeah. And look, I cover stupid things that happen on the internet for a living, and this has gone so far past just stupid that it's just straight up pathetic. Because for years, the dude thought that just being a burden to society was some sort of weird money glitch, because essentially he was just weaponizing the politeness of polite societies over here in Asia. And Johnny pushed the envelope as far as he could possibly go. But in reality, it seems like things are catching up to him. Because in the long run, you can't expect to just harass people for stream donations and expect to not get any consequences. Regardless though, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And thank you so much to GamerSubs for helping me and my team members actually go to South Korea multiple times to cover all this. So if you do want to support the channel, you can go to gamersubs.gg/atozy. And that gives you 10% off anything on the store because they have the best sugar-free beverages out there. And if you don't believe me, you can get a free one. I have a couple things to say after this. Gamersubs.gg/atozy. You scroll to the bottom of the website. Limited availability though, because often I promote this and 500 of you guys grab them real quick and suddenly they sell out for a day. So keep checking. But regardless, if you want to support the channel, you can still buy anything for 10% off with my code. And obviously, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
So I think 6 months actually wasn't really that much. I think at one point they were saying like it's possibly the maximum sentence he could get is 15 or 20 years. But I knew it wasn't going to be that because I think Legal Mindset, so one of the other one of the other Flash tubers here. Where is he? This guy. The guy in the coats. So he's like a lawyer. So he was explaining that it's really highly unlikely. The guy in the blue suit, this guy. Yeah. Legal Mindset. So he was explaining that it's probably usually unlikely, right, for it to be like 15 or 20 years because usually I think it's not going to be that. And also I sort of guessed that as well because like he's a foreign. US passport is still very powerful, I think, because of how much inherent power US has, I think, and how close South Korea is to America. So I think I'm not surprised that it's lower, but I expect it to be more. I expect them to be like, I was hoping it would be something like maybe like 8 years, 6 to 8 years, possibly 10 years. But yeah, with it just being like 6 months, it's like so little. Like even if they appeal and stuff like that, holding him for like 18 months or 14 months, which I don't even think is gonna happen. Even they appeal, maybe it will just be again. That's the maximum possibility. Maybe like 10 months, maybe. But yeah, I think But anyway, but the prison, as they were saying, is very different because there's labor component to the prison. So you would have to work at cabbage farm or factory or something like that. So I think overall we got some justice, which is good. it was not enough in my opinion. But we still got justice in the end. So that I just hope that there's no more Nuisance streamer. I hope people don't bring a bad name to streamer, because there's actually really good streamers out there doing good things, like the Tip to Tip with Ludwig and Michael. They explored Japan and China from end to end, rural areas, trying to connect with people and bring cultures together. Like that kind of thing is really nice. And yeah, as I said, this is just like complete opposite, man. Complete opposite. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please consider liking the video, share the video, and subscribe for future content. And yeah, the more you guys support the channel, the more frequent and the more quality we can improve on the channel. And yeah, thank you so much. Peace.